No more time to waste, no more excuses. Gotta reach out your arms and embrace the sun. No more time for self-pitying abuses. Gotta stand up and shout and say, I am the one. 'Cause there's been too much crying and talk of being free. Gotta jump off that cliff and be who you were born to be. No more time to waste on photos of the past. There's a star with your name on it and a love that's gonna last. 'Cause there's been too much holding on and talk of being free. Gotta take it all with you and be who you were born to be. Now I know the ice is melting, all the ships are going home, and the wind is getting colder and we feel more and more alone. So stop all your excuses, got the answers all for free. Jump off that cliff and be who you were born to be. Who you were born to be. Sha-la-la-la-la, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. Jump off that cliff and jump off that cliff and be who you want to be.
Wasn't that a fantastic song? Om Shanti, everyone. Good evening. How are my friends and family doing out there? I know today is a really special day. Our friends at Global Citizen Festival are now live streaming their incredible stay-at-home concert. And so when you're done watching this, you can go and tune into it. And I'm just so hoping that they do pause for the moment of silence or Om, as I had suggested. So I've been sending Hugh Evans and all those folks, Chris Martin, all of you. I hope you got a chance to definitely integrate that, because I think for the COVID situation that we're in, we need to clear out the atmosphere. And as you all have felt at the beginning of all the programs that we do, we play that mantra of Om, and you can feel that it's just moving out the energy, you know? Om. It just clears everything out. It's the natural sound of the universe. It's been over a month. What started as just something for our staff and students to keep us going so that we can stay awake and alive when we reopen our meditation museums has become now my reason for showing up at 6:30 and staying alert as well. And I want to thank you for those of you who actually take the time to be very consistent in joining me every day. And Santosh has done such a great job, so we want to give him all of our blessings and good wishes. It's on the Facebook and so on. It's just been a wonderful time. The intimacy is what I've really appreciated. And I've appreciated the intimacy that we have virtually now through either Zoom, Facebook, YouTube. It's just such a beautiful time. I was on a very beautiful panel discussion on the pandemic of COVID crisis and its impact of grief and dying and how we actually address death and the sense of loss. So if you get a chance, you can go to our Meditation Museum Facebook and you'll be able to see the conversation. It touched my heart very deeply. If you remembered a few years ago, my father passed away, and I happened to have been at a very important conference in New York City at the time, despite my request for the family to see if they could hold the funeral after the conference. It had to be done that time, and long story short, no issues. I did my father's eulogy on FaceTime on an Amtrak train heading to New York City. That gave me my first experience of actually how to deal with these times. And even when Daddy Janky passed away 2 weeks ago, I didn't feel that suffering either. And we couldn't fly to do her final rites. We couldn't do the things that we usually do for a funeral. But we felt on a soul level that we were there. And the conversation on Shift Network today about grief and dying was that make sure you finished all your issues, sort out your issues inside of the soul, but also be kind and be thoughtful and be generous. And even when you mess up, you can always be humble enough to apologize or to even allow the other person to know, oh, I've learned something, it's different. These are the times that we're in, and we're being offered this wonderful opportunity to come out absolutely bright, absolutely shining, absolutely wonderful. So some other good news is that our friends at Conscious Good Network Conscious Good, founded and headed by CEO Trina Wyatt, we're going to be doing a soft launch of a new TV network called See Good TV on April 27th. So if you'd like to go to consciousgood.com and find out more about our launch, I look forward for you joining in. It's time for us to know that whatever we watch will also determine how we feel. Because they say you are what you eat, you're also what you watch. So everyone who's watching this, you're doing pretty healthy. So anyway, are you okay? Is everyone all right? You know, I ask you this almost every day. Are you eating? Are you exercising? I did a little bit of exercise today, but I got some really nice rest. I slept for about 2 hours today, right before my conference meeting today. But I had a lovely early morning meditation with all of you, the students, this morning at 7. Was it 7 o'clock this morning? And there was a song that came to mind by Kansas. It's an old group, and it's entitled All We Are Is Dust in the Wind. Do you remember that oldie and goodie? I was so moved by that song. We played it about 20 times as I was making scrambled tofu for everyone for breakfast this morning. But to think about the times that we're in, all we are is dust in the wind. And are we watching the things that are feeding our souls? And are we understanding this particular time of grief and loss, death and dying? I'm reminded by a book written by Neville Hodgkinson, which I'm going to be inviting on air in a few weeks. He wrote a book featuring Daddy Janky. I know how to live, but I also know how to die. And that's exactly the way she exited, the way she lived, with nobility, dignity, on her own account, in her own words, in her own way. She did it perfectly. And I've been asking myself, Jen, do you know how to do that? And are you ready? And have you been kind enough to yourself? Have you been a good friend to yourself? In our morning teachings, it had so much to do that if you are your own best friend, then it will be natural for you to continue to move along according to the most evolving ideas, that the high road, the road to spiritual integrity and spiritual authenticity. And even if you fail and fall down and do miserably with your journey, the friend will still come and pick you up. So are you a very, very bad critic? I tend to be a little bit hard on myself, but I've learned to overcome that immensely. But are you one of those individuals that just can't forgive yourself for messing up? Are you one of those people that take things so sensitively that you get so angry with yourself? Are you one of those people that even when your best friends and people who care for you are telling you the best ideas and giving you the best guidance, you are blocked. You know, you're ignoring. You're like that teenager who doesn't want to be lectured by mom and dad anymore. And you're like, yeah, whatever. That's when we stop being a good friend to ourselves as well. My friendship with myself got deepened when my awakening happened and I started to experience the energy of the love of the divine. It was subtle. I had to be very quiet. I had to be alert, gentle, trusting, curious, playful, and innocent. And all of those things helped me to embrace who the soul of Jenna has been, who the soul of Jenna will be. It's been a very important thing. And I think now, with us being in our own company more, or being in the company of people that we might have known for a long time or don't know for a long time, or maybe we're staying by ourselves, it's still this time. How are you building a relationship with yourself? One of the things that I found very useful is to write a letter to yourself. Something I've learned from Sister Gita. Every morning at 3:30, 4 o'clock, every single morning, she has her notebook and pen and she writes a letter to God. It's like a letter to herself every day. And I'll pass her and I'll see her and she writes that letter to herself every day. So I do believe that one of the ways that we build up a relationship and a friendship with ourselves is to become your own pen pal and write a letter to yourself and see how you're doing. See what you're going through. How are you feeling? Because sometimes the mental language alone doesn't become specific enough for you to find the clarity that the soul requires. And of course, as you know, meditation becomes a tool to help you and me to become clearer. Hasn't it for you? Haven't you found parts of your inner world that you didn't even know was there after you started to meditate and be more introspective and be a lot more thoughtful about the choices that you're making, the thoughts that you're having? I'm sure you have. Anyone who is on the path of awakening, or who is awake, or who's struggling to stay awake, listens. They listen to their thoughts, and they're mindful. And one of the most beautiful things I've learned on my journey, and maybe you too on your spiritual path, is the definition of a spiritual person. It's not that you are on a podium all the time, or you're on the top of some mountaintop chanting Om all the time, or anything like that. But I've often felt like when I call myself, I don't know if I ever call myself spiritual. Maybe in the bio they put that down because of all the extensive work that I've been used to do for so many years, and especially for such influencers behind the scenes. I've been a behind the scenes moving things in a very powerful way. But I think that it's this ability inside to be very, very, very honest, right? To be very honest with you. And when you can call yourself spiritual, it says, look, I might not be perfect, but I'm on my journey towards it. And a spiritual person versus an unawakened person, I think, is somebody who recognizes what their weaknesses are. The unawakened person still doesn't know that that's their limit. But the spiritual person or the awakened person says, I know this is my limit. I'm going to work on it. There's no doubt. And they're always keeping guard as to what thought enters their kingdom. And they don't want a thought that enters their kingdom that's a thief. One that would ruin their friendship with themselves, one that would disturb their whole inner world. They look for individuals or thoughts, rather, that are in alignment with their higher purpose and their higher order. And I feel that's the time that we're in, you know? We have to become our own best friends, where you just appreciate the path well traveled, that you appreciate your thoughts. But even deeper than that, do you appreciate and recognize the intention behind your thoughts? Is there always a check and a change? You know, you accept your friends as you are. To all my friends out there who know, we know each other very well. We have this very deep bond, like we just accept each other as we are. And we will say things. We might feel sometimes a little tension because we want to say it with respect and dignity to the other person. But it doesn't mean that we don't accept each other. It's a very important quality of becoming your own best friend. My question to you, and I ask you to pause for 5 minutes, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, and answer this question. Are you your own best friend? Here's another thought. Do you accept yourself as you are? Honestly answer that question. Vital, isn't it? That's what makes this time period so beautiful. We're being fiercely honest. And we're radically learning to accept ourselves in ways that we never could before. Because we were so distracted pre-corona. And during corona, you have no other option but to keep paying attention to your transformation. It's my vision and my wish that all of humanity, or at least most of us, will come out of this illuminated beings. Means you're more thoughtful, more patient, kinder, grateful, stronger, wiser, and a big part of this, playful. A lot of folks don't realize that as you begin to purify your personality, which means reducing those self-sabotaging thoughts, as you purify your personality more, those self-sabotaging thoughts get less. And as they get less, it's the innocence that starts to come out of you. It's the playfulness that comes out of you. And what do you do with your friends anyway? You play. You play with each other. You go out to places. You go to see a movie. You go and get something to eat. You go on a tour together. You travel. You spend time together at your homes. You talk things. You laugh. You think about your ideas. You share your ideas with each other. So the more there's safety and trust with yourself, one of the big benefits of that I've seen is you build your friendship with yourself, is you definitely become more playful. So spotted this video, which I thought kind of also contributes to what I've shared so far. So I hope you'll enjoy it, and I'll see you back shortly.
Trying to be a better friend to yourself sounds like an odd idea initially, because we naturally imagine a friend as someone else, not as a part of our own mind. But there is value in the concept because of the extent to which we know how to treat our own friends with a sympathy and imagination we seldom apply to ourselves. If a friend is in trouble, our first instinct is rarely to tell them that they are fundamentally a shithead and a failure. If a friend complains that their partner isn't very warm to them, we don't tell them they're getting what they deserve. We try to reassure them that they're essentially likable and that it's worth investigating what might be done. In friendship, we know instinctively how to deploy strategies of wisdom and consolation that we stubbornly refuse to apply to ourselves. There are some key moves a good friend would typically make, which can provide a model for what we should ideally be doing with ourselves in our own heads. Firstly, a good friend likes you pretty much as you already are. Any suggestion they make or ambition they have about how you could change builds on a background of acceptance. When they propose that you might try a different tack, it's not an ultimatum or a threat. They're not saying that you have to change or be abandoned. The friend insists we're good enough already, but they want to join forces with us to solve a challenge they feel we would properly benefit from overcoming. Without being flattering, good friends also constantly keep in mind certain things we're getting right. They don't think anything wrong with the odd compliment and emphasis on our strengths. It's quietly galling how easily we can lose sight of all our own good points when troubles strike. The friend doesn't fall into this trap. They can acknowledge the difficulties while still holding on to a memory of our virtues. The good friend is compassionate. When we fail, as we will, they are understanding and generous around our mishaps. Our folly doesn't exclude them from the circle of their love. The good friend deftly conveys that to err, fail, and screw up is just what we humans do. We all emerge from childhood with various biases in our character, which evolve to help us cope with our necessarily imperfect parents. And these acquired habits of mind will reliably let us down in adult life. But we're not to be blamed because we didn't deliberately set out to be like this. We didn't realistically have a lot of better options. We're indelibly required to make big decisions before we ever really understand what's at stake or how our choices will play out. We're steering blind in all our large moves around love and work. We opt for a move to a different city, but we can't possibly know whether we're going to flourish there. We have to select a career path when we're still young, and we don't know what our later needs will be. In long-term relationships, we have to make a commitment to another person before we understand what it will be like to tie our lives so deeply to theirs. The good friend knows that failures are not, in fact, rare. They bring as a starting point their own and humanity's vivid experience of messing up into play as key points of reference. They're continually telling us that our specific case might be unique, but that the general structure is common. People don't just sometimes fail, everyone fails, only we don't know about it. It's ironic, yet essentially hopeful, that we usually know quite well how to be a better friend to near strangers than we know how to be to ourselves. The hopefulness lies in the fact that we do actually already possess the relevant skills of friendship. It's just we haven't as yet directed them to the person who probably needs them most, namely, of course, ourselves.
Wasn't that adorable? I thought that was a very nice video in helping us to look at the whole role of friendship. We tend to want something so much from others outside of us, but the question is, do you give that to yourself? So let's break down a little bit of what are some of the ways we can build a friendship with ourselves that we can become our own best friend. 1, be fiercely honest, not judgmental, but honest. Like, honestly, I feel this way. Honestly, I'm so overjoyed when I see you. There's a friend of ours, Clark Peters, and every time we go to meet with Clark Peters, he was in HBO The Wire and Treme and Five Guys Called Mo or something like this from the UK. And whenever Clark and I, whenever we all of us get together with Clark, we feel such joy being with Clark. And we literally would tell him, I don't know what it is about you, but whenever we're with you, we feel such joy. Be honest. Yeah, when I'm with you, I don't know what it is. There's such a joy in your company. And then let's say that you see your boss and you don't have the same joy with your boss, but you smile, you're cordial, you're respectful, but inside you're criticizing or judging him or her. That's not being honest. So how I usually play that out, let's say I'm in front of somebody who I'm not aligned with in principles or purpose or vision or values. and my energy feels that. For me to maintain being a friend with myself first, even though I'm smiling and I might be talking to the person, I tend to hold back not saying too much because I don't want to be disingenuous, one. The second thing, as I stand in front of that person, I'm having also a simultaneous dialogue within my own mind. Says, Jen, bestow. Why don't you feel comfortable with this person? Is it something that you're holding on to? Is there an expectation? What is it? Can you at least be kind and caring? So that kind of an internal dialogue when you're with people that even you might not feel very comfortable with, that is also a sign of being a friend because you're not deceiving yourself. What breaks down most friendships in the world today? When you're not being honest. I've had friends on my journey that I remembered I was working with a group of people a few years ago on a film project. And there was quite an interesting expression of dishonesty. And I don't know what it was. I was just like, I can't give you my all if this is in the relationship. And I severed those ties because it's such a big principle for me, and I'm not saying that's the most spiritual way of doing it, because when you're a friend, there's room for forgiveness, there's room for error, there's room for giving folks space to make amends and to heal. I was remembering another situation while I was in India, and something had occurred and I just needed space from my friends. And when I finally got back to the US and a few weeks had passed and I had a chance to speak with them, they knew that I would not talk to them if I wasn't clean inside. So again, when you are genuine with the way you treat yourself as a person, you will automatically offer that to your relationships outside of you too. It becomes a crucial tool in not just sustaining the external friendships, but also sustaining your own interior friendship with yourself. So being fiercely, fiercely honest with yourself is crucial. The second thing is, it's going to require some information. It's important that you find information, or what I call knowledge, that's higher than where you are. Step into a teachings, like at the Brahma Kumaris. Our teaching is so high, I mean, come on. We are studying to become deities and angels of the future. There is nothing higher than that. Just to think about the characteristics and the virtues and the qualities required to build such an energy in your personality is not like going to your auntie's home. It's a big order. So find knowledge, a wisdom, a teaching that's at least 5 or 10 steps way ahead of you, higher than you, so it can test you to use your honesty to take the next step in building a deeper friendship with yourself. Got that? The third aspect is having a very sincere private relationship with God. When you begin to use this method of self-honesty and then applying a particular level of wisdom or knowledge or information, the inevitable is that you're going to start to be opened to receiving like a confirmation that I've got your back, which is what a friend does, that I've got you. I loved something that I had seen very briefly on Twitter. As you know, that's what I do. I tweet mostly. It was something between Gail and Oprah Winfrey. And Gail was going to join Oprah on her Wellness Vision 2020 tour. And the snippet must have been 15, 20 seconds. I don't remember. But what was on the recording was, oh my gosh, I'm just so nervous. I'm just so nervous to be on the stage with you. And Oprah said to her, why? I got you. Come on, Gail. You know I got you. That's what your inner world will tell you. Even when you're feeling scared. Even when you feel insecure. Even when you're not confident, or even have the knowledge of what you're about to do, your inner best friend will say, I got you. I got you. And that happens when you develop a very deep, intimate, private, open, honest, thought-provoking relationship with the divine, with God, who we call here with Baba. Not a human form, not a human being, the energy of absolute pure light. And I feel that when the soul, the energy behind your eyes, when it starts to become disinterest with the energy in front of its eyes, it's natural that it wants to pull energy from somewhere else. So if it tries to pull energy from just the internal world of where you are or where you've been through, it won't be enough. It won't be enough. The soul will have to start to open up, especially when it's being honest and having a higher level of knowledge. It starts to open up to receiving the unlimited energy of love and wisdom and vibration from the source. Think about it for a little bit. So when you start to open up, and the inner friendship that you've created with yourself, it's like you present yourself in front of the energy of the divine, knowing that you haven't reached the stage of absolute perfection or power or beauty yet. But you're so sure. You're so sure the energy of God the Father, the divine, has got your back and wishes only the best for you. And as a result of that, you deepen that friendship with yourself, because you're not alone anymore. Not only are you become a friend to yourself, but now you've brought the best friend of all, the supreme companion, the divine. We could go on and on and on and on about building friendship, but I want to leave you with those three things. Honesty, applying knowledge as 5-10 steps ahead of you, and then being open to receiving the energy of the divine, where it's just shaping everything inside of the soul. It's just, it's moving everything inside of you. You can't help but to be kind, accepting, thoughtful, forgiving, authentic, truthful. Even when you mess up, you're like okay with fixing it. And when you do great, you're like, that was nice. It's that you've got to give it the same kind of love. When you mess up, give yourself love. When you've done great, give yourself love. That's what friends do. If I'm not feeling good, I'll call up one of my buddies and they'll be like, it's okay. Sister Jenna, you've done this, you're like this, don't worry. And it's just to hear their voices, it's just so comforting. Like, that's what my own inner friend would do. My inner friend would say, it's okay what you went through, what you did. You're going to be fine. So here's one of my favorite tracks, one of many that Ricky Cage, the Grammy Award winner, is working on in a new album. And I'd like you to enjoy it. And the video footage is an amateur video footage I took when we used to go to Miami a lot. Now we can't go to Miami. But enjoy the vibration of the sound, the music, the words. And imagine the ocean is God, the ocean of love, wanting to fill you with your greatest potential, wanting to fill you with the power of silence, wanting to fill you with all the qualities that you already are, but that you've forgotten. Enjoy. Who am I? to think and to believe that I'm divine. Powerful, beautiful, and an offspring of the divine. I am the image and likeness of the divine. And so who am I to speak clearly to who I really am? I am spirit. I am soul. And I use this physical form. I am the being of light, here to fulfill love that's unlimited. Beaches of Miami, Florida right now. So interesting. I want to read something to you. An enlightened person understands that there is nothing to be gained by thinking too much about others. Pure thoughts and feelings will do all the work. There is no need to think much further. You can become your own best friend or your worst enemy. It is entirely up to you. I can't believe that came out of my brain. Imagine there's nothing to gain, but if I'm able to have an honest, evolving, based on knowledge, conversation with myself and consider that the energy of God is with me and I'm never alone, you build a beautiful bond with yourself. There's a beautiful friendship. There's nothing like feeling safe with yourself and safe with others that allows you to be you to your best ability. So I'll pause here and ask if anyone online has a question or if there's anything they'd like to share. Because after that, I want us to go into a very deep meditation by one of our brothers, Anthony Strano, who's going to take us into an inner journey. And I won't come back to see you, but I'll be with you in the meditation. And tomorrow will be another program. So we're looking forward to it. So let's hear and see the questions of today. Are you enjoying the session so far? Can I tell you how much I really appreciate just being so disciplined that I'm, showing up every day? There's a time, I never thought that I could even do sessions every day because I would always have other functions to go to. So here's the question. How do you deal with a friend who you enjoy a lot and are connected with spiritually? However, you feel that he intentionally takes advantage of your trustfulness What if it is a person with PTSD that you care deeply about, but his behavior and dishonesty has no explanation? That's a no normal question, and I think why we did the show today on us becoming our own best friend is that when we have developed a very secure relationship and friendship with ourselves, it becomes natural to be a lot more accepting of others. One, it doesn't mean it's 100% all the time, but two, we do enjoy the person, but then you also have to weigh out the cons. And do the cons really take away more of the benefit of the friendship? That's something that I would look into. The third thing is that if you do sense that your friend has, some issues that they need some chemical balancing, then as a friend, I should be open enough to talk to them about maybe pursuing possibilities of getting some support, healthcare in whatever way possible. And the fourth thing is, if you find that they're not trustworthy and they're dishonest, to be very honest with you, I'm not quite sure if I could feel a very close friendship to someone like that. Again, as I told you earlier, one of my big peeves is dishonesty in my friendships, but I think it comes from a previous birth, because it's not from this one. I'm ghastly honest. This is my problem. But, or might be my blessing. Let's see how that all turns out in the last moments. But I would question if I'm feeling I don't feel the truthfulness or the trust. Here's another thing you could look at. Do I have an element of mistrust within myself? And have I been truthless to me? Why this person is in my life, signaling to me to look inwards. So they could also be your best gift, to help you to see yourself in a way that you haven't seen yourself before. And I want to leave you with that. Again, the 3 steps. Honesty with the self, fiercely honest. Find knowledge that's evolving. Deepen the connection to God. And I guarantee you, the relationship with your friend will still be good, but you will be more protected by energies that might not be genuine. I suspect the person doesn't really intentionally mean to be dishonest. I think it might be their nature, but deep down they value your friendship. So to just be aware of all of those things, okay? I hope that satisfied your heart. Mm-hmm. All right. Another question?
Tina says she already getting answer as she was typing the question.
Oh, good, Tina. I'm glad that you're getting the answer. And give my love to Mom. I'm glad that you guys have been tuning in every day. We miss you so much at the museum. And when we open up, you all better be the first ones in line to get in, because we're going to make a big meal. We're going to have a lot of balloons. We're going to open up the place completely for everyone. So we miss you very much, and we hope to see you soon. Anyone else? Any questions? Very practical, no?
A lot of people liked it.
Thank you for liking and appreciating it. I think it's important for us to hear these things now and absorb them deeply, not just at the surface, but just, I need to do this for me. I don't know that when I come out of COVID, who are the people, energies, and situations I'm going to be around. And I'm going to need to trust my gut feeling, my gut instincts. I'm going to need to trust my better part, my friendship with myself, so that I'm not deceived or taken down a road, where it's very painful. We don't want anyone to suffer post-corona. We want everyone to be mature and to play and to pull up their straps. And you have to fight through it. You're going to have to fight through it sometimes. And some days it's going to be hard, but they're not going to be impossible. They will be hard, but they won't be impossible. But your friend within will say, you got this. You got this. Okay? All right. If you have any more comments or questions, please raise them now, because we're going to close off with a meditation on the inner journey by our beautiful brother Anthony Strano. He's passed away now, but he had this beautiful spirit of an angelic quality about him. Just, he was a genuine human being. And so wherever he might be, our good wishes are with him. Santosh, you want to read it?
How exactly does one practice becoming less critical of oneself? It seems like being too perfectionist blocks less self-acceptance.
Oh, yes. I don't know what your name is, but great
Priya.
question. Priya, you might have heard this story from me before. When I first entered my path of spirituality, the illumination and the light and the blessing and the boon that I was given was tremendous. And it was obvious. It was obvious in my presence. It was obvious in my features. And folks would just look at me like I was a god or something. But I had just finished closing up my nightclubs, finishing up all of this human, worldly kind of way of living. And 2 years after that, I go, there's no way I could become like a saint. And so I went into the meditation room. Actually, it was less than 2 years. It was within that year. And folks would just, go wild. I would go out and people would literally follow behind me into the ashram because of the energy that they used to feel. So I went into our meditation room that we call Baba's room. That's where all the magic happens, in the mornings or at nights. And I remember telling Baba, I'm not what they think I am. I'm not. I'm still this person that loves the nightclub and the lifestyle and this and that. I'm just now trying to sort through myself. And Baba so beautifully and lovingly, again, this is why I tell you, have a companion. Have God as your companion. God whispered gently and says, look, I don't need you to be perfect right now, but just be honest, and you'll be fine. And so, Priya, what I've learned is by applying the virtue of honesty to yourself, it will eventually lead you to your state of perfection. Your perfection holding how you're supposed to be perfect right now could be influenced a little bit by your ego. And that ego is what's stressing you out. Not the fact that you know you're going to be perfect one day, but the ego's interpretation of what perfection is for you. And so when you find yourself being a very harsh critic, again, that's the ego entering your kingdom and stealing you from your potential. And that's why you need honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and God's love, Baba's love, to be able to signal to you, don't listen to that. You've been to parties with friends and you've got your best friends here and you have the other friend that comes and nobody really likes to listen to them or hear them. Or maybe they're like slow talkers or something, there's just something about them. So oh yes, I acknowledge you, yes, that's fine, but you're not really into them. So in the same way, I recommend when the critic emerges, just go, oh, I hear you. Yes, you could have said that better. Yes, that wasn't really good of you, you know that. But it's okay. You're going to be fine. You just have to redirect your attention. You won't do it all the time, but Priya, just do it some of the times. And then eventually, it will become all the time. Okay? All right. So thank you everyone for joining us today in our spiritual vaccine, and hope you're finding your cure for the soul, finding the cure that flows through your soul to the cells of your body. Hope you're receiving the cure through the soul, through the body, to your relationships, to your environment, to your country, to your world, and to your universe. That means if you're spiritually healthy, spiritually wealthy inside, you're helping the entire universe. Take good care of yourself. Stay safe. what's the thing I usually end on the radio show, Santosh? Um, I usually have a close.
Love everyone the same.
Yeah, there are two quotes I usually do at the end of the radio show. Definitely love everyone the same. It'll break your attachment. But there's another one that I say. Can you believe how my days are going? I can't even remember what I say every day in the radio show anymore. Don't let anyone make you hate them or something. Or, oh gosh, I can't believe I can't remember it.
Make someone more powerful.
Don't make anyone more powerful than you that they make you stop loving. So in other words, don't allow anyone to be more powerful than you that you no longer give love. And the same formula applies to yourself. Don't make any mistake you've done, any poor choice that you have implemented, stop you from loving yourself. Okay? Love is your religion. Love is at your base. Love is what you were born with. And love is what you will die with or transition with. Okay?
One question.
One more question? Okay.
Mark Sibat used to come to museum.
Hi, Mark.
He says, I learned my mother despised me before she died, because my brother said something, but he will not tell me. How can I get rid of the remnant of her hatred and forgive him?
So that's a big one. I don't know if your mother despised you, but she might have been in a place within herself that she was in a lot of suffering and pain. And because your interpretation is that this soul is an authority, a nurturer, she used to be my mother, there's a natural interpretation that she's supposed to give you that unlimited love. So that's going to take some time for you to sort out, Mark, that it's not just about her, but it's also about Mark. Has Mark developed the ability to love himself? Does Mark look into the mirror and look at his soul and acknowledges the value of the soul of Mark? Has Mark done the inner work despite mom, despite brother, despite leadership, despite religion? Am I okay with me? So I would suggest, Mark, you start a letter like that tonight. The heading of your letter is, am I okay with me? And then allow whatever flows out to just flow out naturally. And as you read it over, observe how you're feeling as you're reading it. And then on the other side, on the other few pages of the paper, start to write, how would Mark befriend himself? If you were to pick Mark up from the experience that he's been through with a mother that he interprets despised him, and a brother that won't tell him what his mother said about him, what's the friendship that Mark would like to build for himself or with himself to talk him through this particular period? And I invite you to really incorporate your relationship at Source. Since you've been to the museum, you know what that is. But I'm sorry that that happened, but we're not going to get any karmic stories that we can't manage. And maybe that's going to be your greatest opportunity to propel you forward into being the best version that Mark can be. One never knows the way the universe sends the teachings. But you hang in there. You're a good man. I've met you. I've known you for a number of years. You don't need your mother to acknowledge that you're good. Despite whatever you've done, whoever you've become, you're a good man. And you now have to be the friend to accept and believe that. Okay? All right. So enjoy this meditation by our brother Anthony. Don't forget to support the meditation museums. We want to be able to open our doors when all of this listens up. So feel free to donate on our website, or maybe it's somewhere here. Tell your friends about the programs in the evenings. If you like them, please feel free to share them with your friends. Watch them over and over again so that they can give you deeper insights. My favorite hobby, the American Meditating Radio. Feel free to follow it on Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, or tune in. and enjoy the richness of the programs that we offer on the radio show, which is daily and 24/7. We love you so very much. Know that God's got your back, and we too have your back. And believe that you're going to be okay, and you're going to pass through this with flying colors. We have no other choice but to use our thoughts in a way that our own inner friend would lift us up. Om Shanti. Take great care. And thank you so much again for spending your hour with us. Bye.
Stepping inwards. I relax. I relax my body completely. And gently, very gently, I step into silence. I step inside myself. And in the silence, I disconnect from the things around me. I relax. I am still. And for the next 10 minutes, I will remain inside myself. I will remain in this silence, concentrating and keeping myself disconnected from all the things around me. Taking this journey inward, I wish to know myself. I want to be with myself and not think of anything else. Beyond worry, beyond fears, beyond the noises of the outside, I become still. Gently, I concentrate, and I ask myself, who am I? Who am I really? Am I this name, this body, this nationality? Or is there something more to my existence? In the silence, I focus my mind and concentrate on the center of my forehead. And as I focus, I visualize a point of light, a point of eternal energy. I understand. I am this light. I am this point of spiritual energy. I am here. I am the soul, a point of living light, the spiritual being. This is who I am. And as I journey deep, very deep within myself, I remember, I realize that I have great resources, great power within myself. I am a soul, and inside me lies all my experiences, my identity, and all the things I need to make my life happier and more peaceful. Who am I? I am a spiritual being, a point of eternal light. I let these thoughts penetrate my mind. I concentrate on these thoughts completely. I am a soul. I am immortal energy. I am peace. Peace is my original strength. Within myself, I visualize a pool of energy. This energy is the energy of peace. I go deeper and deeper within my peace. I remain in this experience. I remain within this consciousness. My original and deepest quality is of peace. Peace is my original nature. Peace is my original strength. And the deeper I go into myself, the deeper I go into my original peace. I am no longer distracted by all the things outside me. I remain in this consciousness. There is only peace, only silence. Peace and silence. I feel myself becoming free. I feel myself becoming stronger. I feel myself becoming lighter, stable. As my thought, so my consciousness. I allow this thought and this feeling of pure peace and harmony to flow throughout my being. Now, peace flows through me. Peace, harmony, freedom belong to me. I am strong. I am full. I am content. I am in peace. Now in this silence, I am completely inside, very quiet, very still. I am at one with myself. I find contentment. I am at peace. I begin to remember myself. I begin to understand myself. I begin to accept myself. And as I remember, and as I accept, I respect my original being, and love emerges. I feel confident. I feel secure. I feel there is a great stability now. There is strength, and there is the power to create a life of quality, a life of meaning, a life of purpose. I have found my focal point, my inner compass to direct my external life. And as I remain here, inside, I ask myself, where do I come from? In the stillness, I hear the silence. I listen, and I realize that my original home is very, very far from this world of sound, of time, of matter. I come from a world of eternal light, a world of silence, a world of peace. That is my home. This is where I come from. And with my thought, I travel upwards to the world of liberation, the world of nirvana. Let me remain in this consciousness of the self, of the peaceful self, and the peaceful home. Peace, harmony, and silence. Let me remain here. Peace and silence. Only silence.